Imagine this, you're standing in a store aisle, reaching for something as basic as a pack of pads, only to be stopped by the one person who's supposed to have your back, your husband. Sounds shocking, right? Well, today I'm sharing my deeply personal and emotional story about how something so simple turned into a battle for respect and autonomy in my marriage. Stick around, because this story is not just about me, it's about control, boundaries, and finding your voice. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today's topic is one that many women silently face, yet rarely talk about. It's about the hidden dynamics of control in relationships and why even the smallest decisions, like buying pads, can turn into power struggles. So grab a cup of coffee and let's dive right in. It all started on a regular grocery trip. I picked up my usual essentials, including a pack of sanitary pads. As we walked down the aisle, my husband looked at the pads, raised his eyebrows, and said, "Do you really need those?" I thought we agreed you'd start using something more natural. I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. He took the pack out of the cart and placed it back on the shelf. I froze. Was he serious? I tried to explain why I needed them, but his response shocked me even more. "We're a team. You should respect my opinion and look for alternatives I'm more comfortable with." Suddenly, this wasn't about pads anymore. It was about control. He started lecturing me about how I needed to be less wasteful and more in tune with natural remedies. At that moment, I felt my voice shrinking. I felt ashamed and angry, but mostly confused. Why did my husband feel he had the right to decide what products I used for my own body? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the scene in my head. I realized this wasn't the first time he had crossed boundaries. It wasn't about helping or caring, it was about control. And the worst part? I let it happen. The next day, I sat him down and told him how his behavior made me feel disrespected, belittled, and unheard. I made it clear that my body and my choices were mine alone. It wasn't an easy conversation, and it took a lot of courage, but it was a turning point. But this story doesn't end there. After our conversation, things started to change, slowly at first. He began asking more questions instead of making assumptions. We started having more open discussions about our needs and expectations. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when I doubted whether things could really improve. But I stayed firm in my boundaries. Over time, he began to understand that his attempts to control certain aspects of my life were rooted in his own insecurities and outdated beliefs. It wasn't about me being wrong, it was about him learning to let go of the need to control. This experience also taught me to be more vocal, not just in my marriage but in every aspect of my life. I started speaking up at work, setting boundaries with friends, and prioritizing my self-care without guilt. And let me tell you, the confidence I gained from this shift has been life-changing. But I also want to share something that happened next. About a month after our first big talk, we had another moment of conflict. This time it wasn't about pads, but about my decision to attend a women's health workshop. He questioned why I needed to go, especially since we'd already talked about health and boundaries. I realized then that setting boundaries once wasn't enough. It was going to be an ongoing process. I explained again that attending the workshop was about empowering myself with more information and meeting other women who faced similar struggles. I didn't back down. I went to that workshop, and it turned out to be one of the most empowering experiences of my life. I met women who had overcome years of controlling relationships, and I left feeling stronger than ever. After that, my husband started to show more support. It was slow, but the conversations kept evolving. I noticed that he started bringing up articles about women's health and asking questions about what I learned at the workshop. It made me realize that growth takes time, not just for me but for him too. One of the most eye-opening parts of this journey was learning how many women go through similar struggles. I started sharing my story in small groups, and the responses were overwhelming. So many women opened up about feeling unheard or controlled, and it became clear that this isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal one. It made me want to dig deeper into why these patterns exist and how we can break them. I began reading books on relationship dynamics, attending more workshops, and even talking to counselors to gain insights. The more I learned, the more empowered I felt to keep pushing for healthier communication in my marriage. I also started practicing daily affirmations to remind myself of my worth and strength. It might sound simple, but it made a huge difference. Instead of waking up feeling unsure of myself, I began each day with confidence, and that energy shifted how I interacted with my husband. I noticed that he, too, started reflecting more on his words and actions. We weren't perfect, but we were learning together, and that was what mattered. Fast forward to today, and things look completely different. We still have disagreements, but the tone has changed. It's no longer about control, it's about collaboration. And while I know there's still work to do, I'm proud of how far we've come. This journey has taught me that relationships are about growth, not perfection. And sometimes, the hardest conversations are the ones that lead to the biggest breakthroughs. This story is about more than just a pack of pads. It's about learning to speak up, set boundaries, and educate those around us. It's about recognizing when control is disguised as concern and finding the courage to address it head-on. And while my journey isn't perfect, it's real. There are still days when we struggle to see eye to eye, but the difference now is that I don't stay silent. I don't let my fears keep me from speaking up. And that's the message I want to leave you with today. Ladies, if you've ever felt judged, controlled, or dismissed in your relationship, I want you to know this: your voice matters. No one has the right to dictate your choices, especially when it comes to your health and body. Open conversations and setting boundaries are crucial in any healthy relationship. And if the changes don't come overnight, that's okay. Change takes time. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something similar? How did you handle it? Let's create a safe space in the comments below to share our stories and support each other. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Remember, your choices matter, and so does your voice. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and stay empowered.